Salam Malaysia Madani, this is Biz ASEAN and my name is Daryl Baptist. We bring you Biz ASEAN, a segment where we unpack key issues shaping the regional economy in conjunction with Malaysia's ASEAN chairmanship this year. On today's episode, we're looking at how across ASEAN, digital transformation is reshaping the way we live, work and do business. And one state in our country that's making remarkable strides is Sabah. From improving connectivity to empowering small enterprises and creating new digital opportunities for its people, Sabah is fast becoming a model for how technology can drive inclusive growth. That and more coming right up. But first, let's begin with some of the latest news updates. We begin with a story, the inaugural ASEAN Geoeconomics Report, which is expected to focus on harmonizing ASEAN economic policies to address global challenges. According to a leading expert from the ASEAN Geoeconomics Task Force, or AGTF, Tan Sri Dr. Rebecca Fatima Star Maria, the focus on policy harmonization is crucial to ensure continued shared growth among member states. Commenting on whether the AGTF report focuses on proposals to address US tariff challenges, she clarified that it is among the main topics discussed. The task force also paid attention to key issues beyond tariffs, including the regional direction in line with the ASEAN 2045 vision, as well as efforts to accelerate the implementation of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, also referred to as RCEP agreement. She added that ASEAN is constantly seeking common ground to collaborate for the benefits of its people, especially in the face of major power competition, as well as geopolitical and economic security challenges. In our next story, meanwhile, the signing of the reciprocal trade agreement, also known as ART, between Malaysia and the United States is expected to create strategic opportunities for local businesses, including small and medium enterprises, or SMEs, to penetrate the global market more effectively. Chief Executive Officer of the American-Malaysian Chamber of Commerce, also referred to as AmCham, Dato' Shoban Das said that the 60-day period following the signing of the agreement on the 26th of October should be fully leveraged by the business community to understand the impact of ART on their respective operating models. According to her, companies whose products are subject to tariffs will benefit from tariff reductions or exemptions, thereby gaining the opportunity to access the US market more competitively. Meanwhile, for companies not listed under the tariffs, they are advised to seek alternative strategies to mitigate the impact on costs and competitiveness.
Now, don't forget, we are lower in some respects, depending on which country you're competing against, your competition lies. But we are also ahead of the game. We're one of the first out of the box. So this is an advantage for Malaysia to be able to, with certainty, know its tariff line is going to be at a certain level, 19%, and then build from that.
In the context of SMEs, Dato' Sioban emphasised that the ART agreement will not adversely impact local companies. Instead, it opens the door for them to enhance product quality, expand exports to the US, and forge strategic partnerships with international companies. Now moving on to Market Watch. Most ASEAN stock markets opened mixed today, with Bursa Malaysia opened slightly higher as investors remained watchful amid mixed signals from global markets. For the ASEAN stock market analysis, let's follow the report from Muhammad Shakil Haziq Muhammad Zubil, a remiser from the Malaysian Bumi Putra Remiser Association, also known as Pre-Bumi.
Right, and we can see most Asian market open mixed today. We can see the FBM KSI Malaysian market open slightly higher at 1633.79, up 2.18 points. The JCI Indonesia opened slightly higher, 88397, up 7 points or 0.08%. The SDI Singapore opened slightly lower at 4567, down 0.02 points or 0.04%. The Philippines opened slightly lower at 5711, down 3 points or 0.06%. The Vietnam opened slightly higher at 1634, up 2 points or 0.11%. As we can see, Wall Street traded higher overnight as optimisms grew that the US government shutdown is coming to an end, and we see the Dow Jones hits a fresh record where the S&P 500 stayed near all-time highs, and we can see bond yield ease as traders by the Federal Reserve could still cut rates in this December once official economic data resumes. Historically, markets tend to rally after the US shutdown ends, and this time investors are also encouraged that a steady labor market signals an upbeat corporate earnings. For Asian markets, the reopening US data and potential Fed rate cuts could support risk appetite and fund inflows, especially into Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia. And lower yields and a softer dollar would benefit regional currencies and export-driven sectors such as technologies and commodities. And however, volatility may persist in the short term as investors digest the delayed US data and inflation trends. Overall, we can say the end of the shutdown and dovish rates outlook set a constructive tone for Asian equities heading into the year end.
Thank you for that report, Shakil. Now, coming up next, folks, we take a closer look at our ASEAN Brief segment with our guests in the studio. Stay tuned. Welcome back, folks. As mentioned earlier, today we're looking at how digital transformation is shaping our region. Joining me to discuss this transformation is Dr. Chris Daniel Wong, Chairman Emeritus Malaysia Digital Chamber of Commerce, MDCC, who is also Central Branch Exco of Malaysia International Chamber of Commerce and Industry, MICCI. We'll be exploring how digitalization is changing industries, uplifting communities, and paving the way, particularly for Sabah's digital future. Welcome, Dr. Chris. Thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thank you for inviting.
Always a pleasure. Now, Doctor, let's begin with talking, before we look into Sabah, about the 47th ASEAN Summit that was held in Kuala Lumpur last month. In light of the outcomes of the summit, how do you see the momentum of ASEAN's digital agenda, particularly in the areas of digital economy, trade and cooperation?
Well, if you look at the recent concluded ASEAN Summit, definitely the momentum is very strong after the meeting. Many things has been discussed, especially in the field of integration of digital economy in the ASEAN bloc, harmonizing trade rules, and also enhancing regional cooperation. That is the three key pertinent matters that has been discussed during this summit. And I think personally, and I believe, moving on the momentum, key priority areas that the regional government has to look into is actually how can these three be translated into improving data security, digital payments, cross-border. Like for example, now you go to Touch and Go, for example, they're integrated with Alipay.
All right.
You can use a Touch and Go in Japan, Taiwan, and China and pay seamlessly. You know, when we go to China or Japan, we used to scramble and go and look for a money changer.
That's right.
But nowadays, with the traffic condition, you hardly had time to rush from A place to B place actually, just to get your money changed.
Right.
But Touch and Go actually helps a lot. Just this is one of the examples. And if you look at ASEAN, we have the 5 major economies which are pretty much developed. For example, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, and Philippines. But the rest of it, they're not so developed yet. So we are talking about interoperability. Where how can the 11 country, the 6 remaining country, especially Timor-Leste,
right,
and Laos, who is actually a bit behind, and Myanmar, can actually integrate into this. So the framework has to be there.
Right.
So when we're talking about digital integration, payment integration, we also talk about cybersecurity, what we call it, frameworks,
right,
in order to sustain the entire what we call it, the digital economy framework of the region.
Ecosystem, so to speak.
Yes. So with that, then we can deepening our collaboration with other East Asia countries, such as Japan, Korea, and China, and so forth. So the big picture is there. Now the relevant ministries have to work on the smaller details. So that's very important.
Right. So it's just sort of, the puzzle has been sort of lined out for us. Now it's just piecing it all together to connect it all into one big picture. Okay. Now, given the commitments made at the summit, such as the fast-tracking of the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement, often referred to as DEFA, by 2026, how can DEFA promote cross-border collaboration and digital inclusivity within ASEAN, especially for Malaysia and its regional economies?
Well, first thing first, when we trade, there must be trade rules.
Okay.
Right. The yesteryears where you do it manually, there are rules. The rules are all manual paperwork. You want to send something, for example, to Indonesia or Singapore, even though they are nearby, but there are custom rules. There are import excise tax rules. But how can this rule be digitalized?
Right.
So we also do have the ASEAN single window for ASEAN trade, whereby the customs actually use standardized, what we call it, import-exports e-form.
Okay.
That you key in Malaysia, and then the other counterpart on the other side will receive the thing. So those are what we call digital trade rules.
Okay, so we're making it more seamless.
Yeah, seamless, and especially taxation. Actually, there are 2 forms of taxes: outgoing taxes and inbound taxes.
Right.
So again, taxes should be paid online. Then it will discourage what we call that corruption, leakages, and so forth. But moving from there, then you need to have data protection standards. Our PDPA in Malaysia may not work in Singapore. It may not work in Vietnam. So you need to have standardization. That's what I'm trying to say. Standardization of digital trade rules and also on data protection. And importantly, we are moving to digital IC. Now we have digital driving license. I went to JPJ. I tried to get a card. I mean, we are old school. We're still proud to carry a card around, see?
A physical copy.
But they say everything is a handphone app. But when your handphone run out of battery, I mean, so
what happens then?
What happens next, right? So will our digital ID system be acceptable in other ASEAN countries?
Right.
You just take, for example, in Europe, across the European bloc, EU, what you have in France can be used in Belgium, and can be used in Poland and so forth. So the standards of their digital ID is seamless. In Europe, they only issue one card, which is driving license. Your driving license is equivalent to your national ID.
Right.
All right. But of course, when the UK divorce from EU, they will fall back onto their own standards. So the thing is that we are an ASEAN bloc, but we are not unified in the system. So that is a challenge.
Right.
The challenge is to how to unify the system so as a bloc we can move forward actually. That is what I mentioned just now, interoperable actually. Right? The integration is very important. And perhaps it may not happen now because things are so new to the other less developed ASEAN countries. Nothing wrong. They are playing catch up.
Yeah.
but can the 5 countries that I mentioned start the ball rolling, and then other will just follow suit? Because you have a copy and paste system now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you need somebody to sort of take the lead or set an example. And speaking of setting examples, Sabah is one of those states in Malaysia that is adopting digital transformation actually. Now, considering Sabah's strategic location in ASEAN, serving as a gateway to East Asian markets and also benefiting from regional cooperation frameworks such as BIMP-IGA, how can Sabah position itself to capitalize on this digital transformation momentum that's going on?
I think when we look at Sabah is, Kota Kinabalu is 2.5 hours away from Kuala Lumpur, but 2.5 hours actually is quite far for ship. For airplane, it's 2.5 hours. For ship,
a lot longer.
It's a lot longer. It could probably take a few days or a week, actually, depending on the speed of the ship. I have an experience where I ship something from Kuala Lumpur to my KK office. It took a month to arrive, actually.
My goodness.
It's something very simple, actually. It's a retail stuff, right? So it took a month, including the clearance system. So the thing about Sabah is an economy by itself, very separated from what we call that from West Malaysia, right? You look at BIMP. What is BIMP? BIMP is Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines of the East Asia Gateway. That is BIMP, all right? So, and this framework is not new. It was, if I'm not mistaken, if my mind recall, it was back in 1994 that this BMP was actually formalized.
Right.
But have we actually really capitalized on the framework that this is a ASEAN bloc? ASEAN bloc is 2 parts. You have the west side, you have the east side. And the east side is Philippines, Kalimantan, Timor-Leste, Papua New Guinea, and then you have Sabah, Sarawak. So the framework is there, and I think it's right. It's the right time right now to revisit the framework, strengthen it by introducing more new, not legislation, more new programs in the framework. Like, for example, digital infrastructure, connectivity of this BIMP region,
right,
and then sharing of talent and innovation. So you align all these things so that you have the East ASEAN regional collaboration.
Right.
It's just like in China. China is so big, but you have the Greater Bay Area that has a framework by itself that connects Macau, Hong Kong, and also southern part of China, which is Guangdong and Guangxi.
Right.
All right. So our framework is very similar.
I
But
see.
how can this policy be translated into more action that resonate with today's
community or
new thing that is going on?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to be talking a lot more about Sabah shortly after this, Doctor. But we're going to take a short break, guys. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages.
Yeah.
Completes the ASEAN family, reaffirming our shared destiny and deep sense of regional kinship. Within this community, Timor-Leste's development and its strategic autonomy will find firm and lasting support.
Today, history is made. Timor-Leste has been admitted as the 11th member state of ASEAN. For the people of Timor-Leste, this is not only a dream realized, but a powerful affirmation of our journey. When marked by resilience, determination, and hope.
Welcome back, folks. We're here talking about the ASEAN digital transformation that's been going on recently, in particular in Sabah. I'm here with Dr. Chris Wong. Doctor, we were talking about the digital growth in Sabah. We're hearing a lot about Sabah's growing digital economy. What's driving this surge, would you say, and how is it changing the daily life for Sabahans?
I think importantly, we need to understand the policy behind the growth and the surge. First, we have the National Digital Network Jendela policy. We also have the Sabah Digital Infrastructure Master Plan. All right. We also have the Sabah Digital Economy and Innovation Hub. All right. So these particular three national policy and state policy are the one that is driving the growth. Right. So when we talk about digital transformation, it's not just about having a gadget with 5G connection or having laptop with high-speed connection, but it's actually a transformation that improves people's everyday life. Right. Like for example, rural town or semi-rural town, you're scared you get robbed. But when you use online payment, nobody's going to rob you.
Because you've gone cashless.
Because you've gone cashless, yeah. And you don't have to bring a pile of cash to the bank early in the morning to bang it, or at night to bang it on the ATM machine, the cash deposit machine, because there's a chance that you get robbed. Or maybe you get into an accident and then you lose the money and so forth. So these are just some part of the things that will improve people's life. So it makes the services faster, safer, much more competitive and accessible, even in rural areas. That is what digital transformation is all about.
Right, okay. And, well, I understand the safety aspects of it, but in terms of business, one of the aspects was connectivity has always been a bit of a challenge in East Malaysia. Are things really improving over there? And how is that sort of opening up new opportunities for communities outside of the city, particularly for maybe rural businesses or small SMEs?
Well, if you recall during COVID time, we have a student that climbed up the tree to try to get connection so that she...
recall.
Yeah, we recall that, so that she can get a better connection and do her homeworks and exams. But that really caught the attention of the policymaker. So I fly into Sabah almost every week.
Right.
And we've seen that in town itself, you got 5G connection. And at least out of town, a semi-urban area, you got at least 4G connection. And even though you move to Ranau, I mean, Ranau is really undeveloped. It's a kampung, but you got 4G and 5G connection.
Okay.
So that is good. And the aspiration should be this kind of technology should be able to help the rural folks to sell online. For example, you got craft. I mean, simple things. You always talk about handcraft stuff. Yeah. You can sell online. And I know that in Sarawak itself, there is a startup that actually... what we call that, is managed by a lady. They actually develop a system whereby they will help these makcik-makcik from Rumah Panjang to sell their craft online. And Sabah has that as well, all right? And besides that, we got many young people who are very creative. They do content. All right, content like food or travel. You know, Sabah is very well known for tourism. Yeah. You go island hoppings and so forth. So these are the things that help them. If you take a boat out from KK jetty and 45 minutes or an hour, you still get 4G or 5G connection in those islands. Really? And it's instantly you can actually you can actually what we call that, do content creation and promote Sabah as a ecotourism destination or tourism destination. So that is what we talk about: digital marketing. We talk about e-commerce, content creation, and this is what will empower the young people to make a better living.
That's really great to hear that connectivity, or rather the lag behind connectivity, has caught up. And like you mentioned, islands even 45 minutes out of KK still can get 4G and 5G connectivity. I think that's an awesome achievement that a milestone that we've hit. However, that being said, many small and medium enterprises in Sabah are still playing catching up with digital tools. Connectivity is one part of the puzzle, but there's also digital tools, because if you've got connectivity but you don't have the right tools, then it's also a bit pointless. So what support or initiatives are in place to help SMEs embrace technology effectively?
Well, this is what I always say. You have the policy maker. They approve budget in parliament.
Right.
Okay. Then you have the agency who's supposed to be the promotion and implementation centers. So the agency has to do more. And I'm glad to see over the last 2 years, agencies such as MDAC or Tekun, they do more, not in KL. Because KL is flooded with information every day. And even Selangor, they do more out of Kuala Lumpur and Selangor. Probably Terengganu, some rural part of Perak, Kedah, Sabah, Sarawak. So they provide grants. And the basic grants, you always get about 5,000.
Okay.
Right? So beside the grant, you know, makcik, or young people, they know about it, but they don't have access to it. And obviously, there are what we call that internet that you can read up about it.
Yeah.
But then there is no local office because it's too expensive to have a local office. And I always say this: work with the Ketua Kampung, work with the ADUN, all right, your local elected representative, have more on-ground programs, all right, so that all this information and grant being channeled to the ground. All right, and those yesteryears, we have what we call that, now they're rebranded. We have those Pusat Computer Desa. All right, now they're rebranded. I've forgotten what it's called, but you still have that. Use that so that information have been channeled, have a bi-weekly or monthly programs. It's not expensive anyway, all right? You don't even need to fly in people. You can do a virtual call. And then people just can connect from there. And then they will tell you, you masuk this click, you download the borang, you fill up the borang, and then you send and so forth. So all these things can be done seamlessly virtually. And nothing can stop because the connectivity is there. It's just the implementation is very important.
Well, from what I hear you're saying is all you need is, connectivity is already there. All you need is a mobile device to access these websites, and then you're basically sorted because everything can be done online, like through virtual calls, as you mentioned.
So just to add on, agencies such as MDAC, they may not have offices everywhere, but they can partner with SEDIA, Sabah Economic Development and Investment Authority, or SETCO, the Sabah State Development Agency. And then you partner with the local agency and actually roll out your programs. And I'm sure many people will appreciate and take up. So that is how it will empower the rural community and the young people in Sabah.
I think that's amazing. I mean, I think Sabah is a very, very promising state right now, and there's so much opportunity out there. And of course, with the improvements of connectivity and digital tools and all the agencies that are going out there to help the people, I think Sabah is one of the states to look forward to.
Especially in this state election.
Yes, exactly, with all that coming up too. Thank you so much for your time today, Doctor. That was a great chat, and thank you for sharing your insights.
You're welcome.
Well, there you have it, folks. Sabah's digital journey shows how technology can truly empower people, grow businesses, and connect communities, all while setting an inspiring example for the rest of ASEAN. Well, my name is Daryl Baptist, Malaysia Madani, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next time. Thank you and good day.